Welcome to Digital Asset News. Take the top stories in cryptocurrency and digital assets and break them down into bite-sized pieces. Today, got some interesting stories that shows growth and potentially mass adoption. So first up, Coinbase CEO reveals controversial Bitcoin and cryptocurrency prediction with a major shift incoming as far as the reserve currency. Also, South Korea's parliament reportedly legitimizes cryptocurrency as a legal entity, and this comes just on the heels of yesterday's report that India's Supreme Court also legitimizes cryptocurrency and lifts its ban. And Bitcoin hash rate passes record 150 quintillion as price reclaims 9,000, and the question is asked, does the hash rate equal price? Also, Tron is paired against the key fiat on Kraken as Tron surpasses 4.8 million user accounts. And after this, we're going to finally go over the scam of the day. If you've got a couple minutes, just stick with me through that, but we'll go over this at the very last part of this video. Let's jump into today's stories. So first up, Brian Armstrong, the Coinbase CEO, talks about the controversial musings as to what could happen with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So instead of reading this whole article, I'm going to sum it up essentially in one tweet from Brian Armstrong himself. He states, a down stock market and interest rate cuts may lead to growth in crypto this year. Governments around the world are likely to look to stimulate the economy in any way they can, which we have just seen as the Fed cut 50 base points, including using quantitative easing and expanding the money supply. Quantitative easing, also known as QE, also known as quackonomics, where the Fed just prints money nilly-willy because they don't care. Also, he states China has already done this as far as quantitative easing. They have printed $173 billion worth of currency. This may lead to a movement of funds into crypto that are viewed as a hedge against inflation. And this could be the year where the mindset of institutional investors begins to shift from crypto as a venture bet to crypto as a reserve currency. And I got to tell you, that last sentence makes a ton of sense. As a reserve currency, we cannot keep doing what we're doing on a global scale as far as quantitative easing and just printing money into oblivion and having debt go through the roof. Right now, I think global debt is around $210 trillion, which will never be paid back. So if you're using the reserve currency as the US dollar, why not just put it into crypto? Because crypto is great. I mean, certain products are great, not all of them are great, but cryptocurrency as a reserve currency, it has a set finite number, so there's no quantitative easing. Now, on some type of projects, you can print for infinity, essentially, but it's usually on a deflationary scale. However, most projects have a finite supply, Bitcoin being one of them. Also, it can't be manipulated to an extent. Now, right now in this market, it's a very niche, small market. 1 to 2% of the population is actually into cryptocurrency. So there are whales right now that I truly believe manipulate this market to their own ends. So as time goes on and more people get into it, and there's not these huge whales that are controlling everything or a large amount of it, I believe manipulation will drop, and we could see that if we have a world currency in cryptocurrency. It's also transparent, so everyone can see what's going on, and that is one of the biggest complaints about the US dollar. There are different black projects that are going on. Money just gets disappeared into holes where no one knows where it goes. And the biggest complaint that I hear about cryptocurrency is, well, you can use it for money laundering and drug cartels and blah, 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 and funding terrorism. Well, what do you think does that now? The US dollar and all the different fiats around the world. So that is, to me, a not a legitimate argument. But if we have something like cryptocurrency, hey, it's transparent, people can see it, you can look at the blockchain, win-win for everybody. Also, it's fast, easy, and liquid, and it's just inevitable. And here's my example. I'm older, so I remember things like payphones and Blockbuster and dial-up internet. None of that stuff's around anymore, and the reason is because no one uses it, because we have much better, simpler, faster, cheaper type of products out there that we can use, and not just these old style things. So if you think about the bank and moving money around, it's amazing to me I mean, I have a bank that sucks. I have some banks that are good, but some of them just suck. I mean, I have business accounts and personal accounts. And I can just tell you right now, if I can send an email to a person in Bangladesh and they're going to get it in 30 seconds to a minute, why can't I move money around the globe just like that? I can do with everything else. It makes no sense to me. Banks are an old legacy system that eventually will die out, just like the 3 examples I just gave you. Now, I don't think they're ever going to completely go away. I mean, payphones morphed into cell phones, smartphones. Blockbuster essentially, I mean, Blockbuster didn't morph into, but the product itself morphed into Netflix, Disney Plus. Dial-up internet became DSL, and then DSL became wireless, and then we have 5G, and all the different hubs that are available as far as like the internet around the world. So these types of things, like I don't think banks will go away. They will upgrade, but I believe cryptocurrency will be the major force moving on. And then if you have to look at even another example, the coronavirus. Right now, China is having to not launder money, but clean money, because people touch money, they pay for things, and then the coronavirus gets spread. Well, with cryptocurrency, there's none of that. You just can use your phone, you can tap things, you can transfer things, no big deal. It goes around, there's nothing physical about it. Now, your phone is probably disgusting, just like mine is, if you ever if you can ever take a look at it. But besides that, we're not spreading contaminants all over the place with cryptocurrency and digital assets. So this, I thought, was a pretty simple statement with huge ramifications, and this is just how I see it. So let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Do you think cryptocurrency digital assets is going to overtake everything? Could it be a reserve currency, and how long will it take? Let me know in the comments below. Moving on. South Korea's parliament reportedly legitimizes cryptocurrency as a legal entity. And this is amazing because not more than 24 hours ago, India, with its 1.3 billion people, the Supreme Court of India lifted a ban on cryptocurrency. And now here we have South Korea. So I've always been harping on the fact that we need regulation. Some people are like, no, we don't need regulation. In cryptocurrency, we need regulation. Okay? That's just how it goes. And in this article, we're going to talk about why. So according to reports, a full session of the National Assembly of the South Korean Parliament has passed an amendment to the Act on Reporting and Use of Specific Financial Information. This is a huge win for the digital asset industry, especially for the many exchanges and platforms based in South Korea, as the report claimed that this amendment will usher in a complete restructuring of the blockchain industry. With the passage of this amendment, cryptocurrency exchanges in South Korea will have to adhere to reporting requirements from the government. And this is a big thing. We go over scam of the day, and I get requests and emails all the time from these different shady organizations, and they could be exchanges. They're all different type of projects every single day. Like, hey, we checked out your YouTube video and we really like your channel, and we want you to, to talk about our exchange. And I'm like, no, all this stuff is just a scam. It's a scam, and you've seen scams, you've heard about scams, about these exchanges opening up because there's no regulation, and people put their money into it. I don't know why they do it, but they put their money into it and their money is gone. And I'm like, why did you do that? Why did you go for these crappy exchanges that are out there because they offer some wacky coin that you think is going to go to a billion X? It just boggles my mind. I mean, that's the problem. So I believe, and you can tell me what you think in the comments below. Free to disagree with me. I believe we need regulation. And with regulation in place, I mean, we can have finally this space to not have so many fraudsters and scam artists. Now, there's the flip side of that coin, over-regulation. Now, if we have some, governments coming in and just, shutting things down left and right and going, no, you can only do this and this and this and this, then that's a problem. And the truth is always somewhere in the middle. Just my thoughts. Moving on, the amendment would be turned into law once President Moon signs it, with the approval process beginning a year after. So it looks like this has been voted in. The president has to sign it, and then the approval process or everything that has to get in place or the steps in place a year afterwards, but definitely a step in the right direction. With the amendment passed, all digital asset entities such as exchanges, trusts, wallet, companies, and ICOs would now require a verified partnership with an approved South Korean bank. They would also need to secure certification from an Information Security Management Systems, or ISMS. And I know, like, when we hear these things, we're like, damn, that's a lot of work to do. But look, it protects them, it protects you, and it works out for everybody. I just feel like these types of things have to come into place because I and you, more than anybody else, knows how easy it is to scam people in this type of market, in this space. So if we don't have regulation, what do we have? Exchanges such as Upbit, BitThumb, CoinOne, and Corebit already have a real name banking system in place. And another one called GoPex and BitCo, they utilize the ISMS. Interestingly, the amendment may be bad news for certain exchanges as they may not be able to meet the guidelines because there's over 70 crypto exchanges presently in the country and only 6 of them have the ISMS clearance. So I don't know who was contacting me as far as like these different crazy exchanges like, talk about us in your video and we'll pay you a ton of money. And I'm like, no, because you're a scam. Maybe that's one of the 70. I have no idea. But I can tell you this. As far as these Korean exchanges, I've read many an article that talks about how shady they are and how there's different price variances in these different exchanges, which kind of sucks because CoinMarketCap and different types of organizations, they take a look at it and go, oh, well, this is the price of XRP because it's over here and here and here and here. And they take a look at all these different ones, which are just BS. So if we can get rid of this junk, so much the better. I am actually excited about getting rid of some of these BS exchanges because I think they bring the price down overall because different organizations are using them for God knows why, the different prices of cryptocurrency and digital assets. So those are my thoughts. What do you think? Tell me in the comments below if you think that regulation is a good thing or we should just totally bypass regulation whatsoever and just kind of let free market reign and see what happens. So let me know. Moving on. Bitcoin hash rate passes record 150 quintillion. Yeah, that's a big number. As price proclaims 9,000. Thank God for that. So real quick, on Thursday, today, March 5th, the metric, or the hash rate of Bitcoin hit 157 quintillion, its best performance in its history. It says here, hash rate is key to ensuring the security of the Bitcoin network and also acts as an indication of its profitability for miners who validate the blockchain. And this is from one of my favorite websites, my new favorite website, coin.dance. It's got its Bitcoin hash rates. And it takes a look at hash rate of the Bitcoin Core, Bitcoin Cash, and Bitcoin Satoshi's Visions and tells you actually which ones are profitable if you're into mining, which I personally am not. So, moving on this article, it said, despite a 12% price drop last week, miners appear completely unfazed. Now look, if you've been in this space for any length of time, you got some brass cojones to be in here. You've got ice in your veins because you can see these dips of like 12, 15, 20% in a very short amount of time, which would make people in the stock market drop a load in their diaper, honestly, because there are just so many different dips and peaks. It's pretty crazy and something that we as investors have probably never seen until you get into cryptocurrency and digital assets. So when I see miners and they are completely unfazed, they're like, 10%, who cares? 15% drop, no big deal. 12%, and they're just going. Not only they keep going, but they're increasing. They're turning and burning these rigs to secure the network and mine Bitcoin. Because what's going to happen in a couple months? The Bitcoin halving on May 2020. And when that happens, all their different work that they're doing is going to be, the reward is going to be cut in half. So for every block that they mine, they get 12.5 Bitcoin. Past May 13th, May 14th, whatever it is, it's going to be 6.25. So from one day to the next, same electricity, same power, same usage, same rig, same everything, You just get half the reward. And that's a bummer for some of these miners. And the smaller ones, I think, unless they've saved up, are going to have to shut off their rigs. Now, the big guys, Bitmain and this new one coming in Texas and Midland, they're going to be able to stay open. And, you know, they're going to reap the rewards massively because they're going to say, look, you know, the Bitcoin halving happened. It might be, depending on reports that you see, if it's it could be between 7,000 and 15,000. From what I've seen, about 12.5 to be profitable to mine Bitcoin after the halving. So if it's at 10.5, they're losing money to mine Bitcoin. But they know if they do it, and all the different smaller ones are just missing out because they can't afford to stay open because they have, you know, not saved up and couldn't produce. Then as time goes on and Bitcoin hits 100, 125, 150, 250, or whatever it's going to be, they're going to profit massively. So we will see exactly what happens. Moving on. This is setting the stage for price. There's a gentleman named Max Kaiser. If you've ever seen him, he's on the Max Kaiser report. He's kind of a loose cannon, a little crazy. Entertaining, though, I'll tell you that. He previously noted that hash rate achievements tend to come in advance of copyright moves in price. And this was also from statistician Willie Wu, who said that this week delivered he said that Bitcoin's got a $135,000 price. And he said that such levels as a common sense prediction. So when I thought about that, what Max Kaiser said and what Wu here says, that the hash rate would equal Bitcoin price. And I thought about it, I'm like, well, okay, let's take a look. So first of all, if we got the hash rate, we're looking at November 13th, 2018. And if we take a look, if we overlay the price for Bitcoin, okay, and the same type of time frame, around November 14th, November 15th, all the way to today. If we take a look real quick, here's the hash rate. Goes up and up and up and up and up, right? Not really a big decline. Let's take a look at the price itself. So it's kind of there. I can kind of see it. I mean, it was down here in November 2018, and it certainly did slide down. Then it kind of went sideways, and then things picked up, and then all of a sudden the price comes up. Now this is a little asymmetrical. Right here in the middle, I guess that's around June, July 2019. It really went up, and then of course the hash rate spiked a little bit. But then as it was coming down, look at this one right here. It definitely went up as the Bitcoin price was sliding down. And now here we are, and it's a little bit asymmetrical at the very end. So maybe there is a big Bitcoin price movement coming up because we see where this level is as far as the price itself, and here is the hash rate. So we will see what happens. If it comes out to be true, sure. I can see it, especially with, I mean, look, the hash rate is at its all-time high, 157 quintillion. That's a boatload. Moving on. And last up, Tron paired against key fiat on Kraken as Tron surpasses 4.8 million user accounts. So before I get into this, let me just say, here's what I've invested in. Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Chainlink, Cardano, and EOS. So I used to own like 40 or 50 different coins, and it just got to be too much. I just consolidated because I didn't want to keep track of everything. But at one point, I did own Tron because it was just one of my 40 or 50 different coins that I had. But I kind of fell out of favor with it. Just didn't see it as really working. But after these recent events, maybe things are changing. Let's see. So on March 4th, Justin Sun shared new data from TronScan showing that the amount of new user accounts on the mainnet has come close to 5 million. So here is TronScan. Yeah, it's 14-day history, accounts growth, and you can see it's roughly 5 million. So great for that. One thing to note is that the online nodes, 822. I think Bitcoin core nodes have around 10,000 globally. So 822, not too bad. So there's 822 people out there doing a node. So moving on in the article, it talks about, as of today, the San Francisco-based Kraken digital exchange launched trading with Tron against USD in Europe. It also has, an interesting note, has Tron XBT and Tron ETH or Ethereum. Last year, Justin Sun set himself the goal of getting Tron listed on the US crypto platforms. In particular, he named Coinbase and Binance.us. So it's pretty lofty goals. And Binance US actually has them under listing as under consideration. So interesting to note. Earlier, Justin Sun became a major investor in the Poloniex exchange, also headquartered in San Francisco, getting Tron listed there as well. So sometimes it's a pay-to-play type of situation. And Justin Sun said, yeah, you want me to, I want to be listed there? Here's couple $100 million or whatever it was that he actually throw in there. So that's it for the article, but there's some things I need to talk about, which is going deep. The first thing is that people hate Justin Sun. They just do. People hate Justin Sun, they hate Tron, and I mean, some people like him, but the majority of the sentiment is like, that guy's a real jerk. That guy's real, I mean, you know what you say in the comment section. And I got to tell you, I was mad too, because when I invested, I mean, it dropped like 50%, just like everything else did over 2017. I was pretty ticked off. But then when I see stories like this, I start to think about, why are we in this space, me and you? Why are we here? Why are we in cryptocurrency digital asset? Are we here because we want to change the world? Are we here because we want to make money, or a little bit of both? For me, I do not like my banks at all. I just don't. And I think that it drives me absolutely insane that we have the technology to do things, yet we're not utilizing it to its full potential. And I also like to make money. I mean, there's a reason why I own a couple businesses. It's not because I like to work real hard. It's because I like to, the fruits of my labor. But I will caution you on one thing, and that is all revolutions are bloody. Any kind of revolution that you get into, there are pitfalls, there are peaks and valleys, none of them are easy. So if we're looking for the revolution to come through, I mean, look no farther than like a Bernie Sanders. Look how much trouble he's having in the US, if you're in the US. I will say this, projects don't make it just because it's awesome service or the currency or platform, or it doesn't matter, whatever it is. These types of cryptocurrency digital assets, they don't make it just because it's just so fantastic that it just has to make it. There's different things behind these organizations, and it's people, and it's manpower. And projects make it because these projects know how to grow a business. They know how to establish partnerships. They know to do certain things. Now, Bitcoin, even Bitcoin, as it's in its decentralized nature, knows. I mean, it doesn't know, but the organization itself knows that for it to make it, it needs people behind it. It needs a Bitcore team. It needs people to be, doing those types of things behind the scenes that make Bitcoin work. Lightning Network, off-chain type of utilization. Bitcoin can't just make it by itself. It needs people around it that are smarter than itself to become big. And the same thing with all different types of cryptocurrency digital assets, right? So looking at Tron itself and talking about partnerships, or acquisitions, for an example, Tron went out there, they bought Steemit. It's a pretty big social platform. Tron also went about and bought BitTorrent. Tron also went about and put a huge stake in Poloniex. So these types of things are essential and crucial for any business to actually make it. And make no mistakes about it. Blockchain, these cryptocurrency digital asset companies, they're businesses. And for them to do these types of things, they need to make big moves. Also, they need to know how to market. You need to, it doesn't matter how great a product is. I'm going to give you a prime example. I've done this before. So I don't know where you're at in the world, or in the US or Mexico or wherever you're at. I have no idea where you're at. But I can tell you, I know who has the best hamburger in your city or in your location. And I want you just to think now, which place has the best hamburger? Is it Bronco Burgers down the street? Is it Pete's famous burger joint? Is it some other type of taco or burger truck that you can go to? Which place has the best burger? Well, like I said, I don't know where you're at, but I can tell you the best burger statistically is McDonald's. And McDonald's makes it because they have fantastic marketing. They're on every corner, and they serve billions of people. Now, I didn't ask you what was the best tasting hamburger. I said, what's the best hamburger? And if you're looking at success, it is McDonald's. So same thing with these types of businesses. They are out there, and they are making these moves to become massively adopted. And then the last thing I want to talk about is they know how to make a great team that can grow the project. And if you look at any type of business out there, you want to get people that are smarter than you around you to make you great or to make the business great. And that's kind of what Tron is doing. It's kind of like what Ripple is doing. That's kind of like what Ethereum does, and they get a lot of different people with the Ethereum Foundation. So I think it's a great thing. And Steve Jobs said it best. Steve Jobs said, he created Apple. He's awesome. I got a great phone. I'm doing this on my Mac. But he said there's 2 essential ingredients for success. Passion, which a lot of people have. If they're starting a business, they have it. But the next one is people. You have to surround yourself with great people to bring your business off the ground. And it comes back to the point of, if you really look at it, think of all the friends that you have, and we've all got them, that say, I got an idea for a business. And you're like, ugh, here we go again. So they got a great idea for a business, and they're passionate about it, they know it, but they just either don't get it off the ground, or if they do get it off the ground, they don't know how to really make it fly. And all the things we just talked about are what makes businesses work. You have to have partnerships. You have to know how businesses operate. You have to know how to market. You have to have a great team around you to build it, because if you're not growing, you're dying. And that's kind of how it works with business and cryptocurrency, blockchain, and digital assets, which are businesses. So what are your thoughts about that? That was a long, lengthy rant. I really apologize for it, but it had to be said. I think that these things have to happen for things to take off. So tell me what you think. Total BS, or add your comments below. I'd like to hear what you think would make these projects get off the ground and lead us to mass adoption. And that is it for today. So again, thanks for sticking through the rants. If you got a couple minutes, we're going to go through the scam of the day and try to get rid of these scammers. Only takes 2, so if you got time, let's jump right in. So first up, scam of the day, we're doing great. We have eliminated a lot of different scammers. If you're new to the digital asset cryptocurrency market, just understand one thing. Everything's a scam until proven otherwise. If you think Ripple's giving away free XRP, just contact the Ripple website like I talked about before. Just send them an email. It takes about 24 hours. They respond. They're going to tell you no. If you think Binance is giving away free tokens or an airdrop, just email them. They'll tell you no. Same thing with any kind of exchange or a ledger. They're going to tell you, we're not doing that. We are not in the business of giving away free stuff. Sometimes they are, but 99.9% of the time, it's a scam you're looking at. So that helps you out. What about the other people? Well, 2020 is going to be a big year, so let's take care of all the people that are getting in here so they don't get screwed out of their money. So first up, in all my videos in the description, there's going to be a link. And in there, it's going to say Scam of the Day. So we're going to click on that link. It's going to take us to this handy-dandy Google spreadsheet, and just scroll to the very bottom, because all the rest of these are removed. These are the ones that are open up. And we're going to click on the first one. It's going to take us to this awful video. The video is not awful. It's just that it's run by scammers. So how do we know it's a scammer? Well, first of all, we're looking at the comments section. And I said scamorama ding dong. And the reason why I said scamorama ding dong is because if you just put scam, this is a scam, sometimes the scammers will they automatically delete it because they have different filters on. So I always say something stupid like that. But hey, look at Joseph and Vern de Buer. They are in on it, so thank you. Looks like the rest of these people are also scam accomplices because they're saying how great it is. Bunch of effing liars. Anyhow, so that's a red flag. But what we're looking for, really, we're looking for an asymmetrical giveaway. So let's see what this says. So we're going to show more. What's this? Oh, look at this. If you send 1,000 XRP, they're going to give you 10,000 back. If you send 5,000, you get 50,000 back. So look, we're both smart enough to realize this is a scam. It's obvious, right? However, as people get into this space, think about your mom. Think about your grandma. When they start to see stuff like this, how easy is it for them to go, well, I think this is right. I'm going to do this. And that's how people get screwed out of their money. So let's get rid of them. First, we're going to downvote. Next, we're going to look for the flag or the report because scammers usually hide it. So I'm going to click on report. I'm going to say this is spam. going to choose one. I'm going to say this is a scam and fraud. I'm going to go with this applies to links, and I'm going to click next. And all I'm going to say is, hey, this is a scam. And just click report, and I'm done. So all that probably takes about 30 seconds. And if you could do that for one or all the links, I'd be greatly appreciative. So thanks. Anyhow, thanks for sticking with me to the very end. If you like these types of videos, there's going to be 2 more that are going to pop up. I'm going to put one, because I think this is going to be a bull year. So I'm going to put what's called my bull run basics. That gives you my exit strategy and some price predictions. And the other one, I think it's going to be whatever YouTube thinks is best for you. So I'll put those up after this video. You can check them out. And thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.